What are you gonna do to me, Jerome? Come on. I'm gonna kill you. Of course. But first, I'm gonna drive you mad. But don't worry, you won't be alone. All of Gotham will be joining you too. Let's go! Let's go!
Brother, my brother, tell me what are we fighting for? We got to end this war. Should love one another. Oh, can we just pretend this war never began? We can try, brother, my brother. Yeah. We face each other from different sides. The anger burns, can't remember why. It's kinda crazy to cause such pain. Our foolish pride makes us hate this way. We watch our world fall apart. Tell me what good is winning when you lose your heart. Brother, my brother, tell me what are we fighting for? Isn't life worth so much more? Should love one another. Oh, can we just pretend this war never began? Tell me why, brother, my brother. Yes, we can try, brother, my brother. Yes, let's take a moment and look deep inside and say we're willing to give love a try. We're not as different as we seem to be. There's so much more to me than what you see. It don't have to be this way. Think about the consequences and turn around and walk away. Brother, my brother, tell me what are we fighting for? Isn't life worth so much more? We should love one another. Oh, can we just pretend this war never began? Tell me why, brother, my brother. Yeah, oh, yeah. Tell me why, my brother. What are we fighting for? Isn't life is worth so much more?
Hello and welcome to the Gotham Chronicle. And what time is it?
It's riddle time.
That's right. So the first riddle is for I didn't come up with a freaking riddle. The pun would have been something. The pun would have been something about being homeless. So, but anyway, this is Josh, and joining me is
who's been on the show for 4 seasons and doesn't know why. It's Donovan.
I just joined this season. This is Jan.
All right. And we are gathered here today for a mandatory brunch meeting with a Legion of Horribles, which I swear that was the name of an episode in like season 2 or something. Like, Don, like, you remember that, right? Wasn't that like an...
It's a something of Horribles, I think. Yeah.
I swear that was like a season 2 episode name, but, I'm currently, on a highway in Florida, en route to Tampa, so I can't.
It was an episode. It's 21st episode of season 2.
Okay, so that was like towards the end when like Hugo Strange was like, "I'm making Monster Men for the low."
For
and then like
the lulz. That's the most scientific reason to make Monster Men.
For him.
So this week, Jerome is gathering everyone together for, I guess, I don't know. He's
It's
like,
was it the Underworld gang from the 60s show?
The United Underworld, just like we predicted in our April Fool's episode 2 years ago. You know, take a shot. Yeah. So, he's searching for his Sakla twin brother Jeremiah, who lives in a little maze underground that somehow nobody noticed being built with his with this person who I wish wasn't a blonde girl, because I know that Reddit's going to be like, oh my god, it's Harley Quinn for some reason, you know, like all the time. Yeah,
she was incredibly attractive.
Yeah, she's probably dead. Actually,
no, Gordon just knocked her out.
Yeah, he just knocked her out. He didn't like JCVD and killed her, but like Gordon, the only thing that like Gordon like successfully shot was a clock this episode. He's like, that was close. I thought that was Mario for a second. And then there was another. There's
the quota.
Whenever he successfully shoots something, you got to do a Mario reference.
It's true.
So yeah, we meet Jeremiah and we find out like, and I guess we'll talk more about this, that like maybe Jeremiah was lying about his childhood with Jerome. Like I wasn't quite sure what to get from that, but it kind of retcons that season 1 episode, which I don't really want to rewatch because that was one of my least favorite episodes of season 1, but I might watch it just to like see if this contradicted the family history or not. You love watching season 1
episodes though because of the contrast.
The contrast is fun, but I remember we really hated that season 1 episode. That was like one of the first episodes that we were all like universally like very meh on. That was like the start of the decline. So meanwhile, Penguin wants Butch to work with him again because status quo, and Butch is like, no, I'll kill you. He's like, I'll help you change back to normal. So he reluctantly goes, and at first I thought Penguin was going to betray him again when like he walks into Jerome's place. He's like, my test subject, and I was like, what? No. He's like, no, not him, someone else. And what was the third plot line of the episode? I think there was 3, right?
It's
Jerome.
riddle time.
Oh yeah, the one that I hated. Yeah,
I knew that would upset you.
Yeah, well, not only that, but because of the pacing, it's like he turns to Lee like, we're only halfway through. I'm like, yeah, because it's 2 questions, but like for some reason the show padded that out for the entire like 40 minutes. Lee plays a game show game with Nygma, which ends with them basically being Boris and Natasha deciding to be evil together, and Lee kissing him, and I have thoughts about that. So where do we want to start with this? You know, do we want to start with Nygma and Lee, or do we want to start with Jeremiah?
I want to hear what Jan thinks. She's giggling right now.
I'd like to hear from Sideshow Mel.
Sideshow Mel?
So, no, sorry. I've been watching a 2-Shot Mr. Burns a bit, so that's a reference. It's another Simpsons reference.
All right, so like the lead Nygma thing, I can see why they put it throughout the entire episode like that, because if they all just put it in one scene, no one would have remembered anything. They'd be like, why is this scene here? So to me, that didn't really bother me. I know that they just kind of wanted to like have them come back to it every once in a while so that they could do other things. And it also gave you like a suspense thing, like, what's the riddle going to be? What's the answer going to be? What kind of riddle is she going to bring back later? Sort of thing. You know what I mean?
The most important questions of the season.
Yeah. So for me, that was like, I thought it was fine the way it was. And I was like watching it, and I totally was all like, I wondered what her riddle to him was going to be. And then when it came out, I was like, oh, I see what you did there, girl. I see what you did there, girl. And I told you, this was telegraphed like a mile away. Not to mention, Corey Michael Smith said the Riddler in Love is going to be very sexy. So when I was watching it, I was all like, he wasn't lying. This is incredibly hot. Also, I just really wanted to say Marina Baccarin's haircut is so much more flattering than that other thing she was wearing.
Did you like her outfit in this episode?
I liked all of her in this episode. She's hot.
I didn't have much to say about this plotline, but like I didn't absolutely hate it. I think that there's a lot of annoyance bubbling, but I'm wondering if Lee is playing Riddler. I think that's more likely than not. Because I don't think we've ever seen like scenes of her start to have feelings for him, rather than just I admire him as a friend. But they could do that, because if the idea is that Leslie Tompkins is seriously going to start robbing banks with the Riddler, oh my god! But I will say that this whole Riddler time thing, again, I mean, it feels like Riddler is like 100%, like he's maxed out his character, which isn't a bad thing. This felt like a Riddler plot. Like he's doing riddles in a very kind of performative way. There's a giant like Jim Carrey-esque question mark highlighted in the background, like neon question mark. I absolutely hate all the Narrow stuff, but I've already talked about that. And I don't. Similarly, I don't like. This is like the roughest part of the Gotham and all this kind of stuff. But Leslie is always like dressed like she's going to like the most expensive like bar dinner ever.
Because she's their queen, the doc.
Yeah, but that's been done before. I will say that Marina Baccarin did a really good job. She's always a solid actress, but I liked the confidence she had in this episode, and I like the fact that she like took on his riddles and she kind of played him, because it's not. The Riddler is not like impossible to outwit. Not that he's easy, but she's smart enough to kind of outwit him, like Lucius was. So that was cool. I didn't dislike this, but I will agree that the ending was one of those Gotham things. It's like, hey, let's go rob a bank. Mwah, mwah, mwah. I was like, all right. So that
did bother me, like the whole robbing bank thing. But everything else in that scene was distracting me heavily. Like the fact that he had a knife to her throat, and that she was just like, hey, 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 and I'm like, guys, I don't know if this is safe for television.
Oh, as you were saying, yeah, she thinks
there are children watching.
It's a family program.
Is this a euphemism?
She was grabbing his question mark.
It's gonna wake up the BDSM and then the kids watching, they're gonna draw. It's gonna
wake up the BDSM and
Jan. Yeah, now everyone knows.
I'm gonna get a call. I'm gonna get a call from Ben, and he's gonna be like, "I have some questions." And I'm like, "Oh God!" I watched Gotham, and
is it okay to knife a woman?
If it was opposite, and she had a knife to Riddler's throat, I would have told Harry to watch. I hope you catch in this episode, because it's one for you.
She was so fully in control in that. I mean, Here's the thing: she is literally in control of the situation. The Riddler is submitting to her and her her control, even if he has a knife to her throat. That is his attempt to try to regain control, but she was ready for it, so he still doesn't have it. Therefore, Harry can still watch the episode, because she's still the dominant person in that scene.
This is an episode that Dustin listens to.
Wow.
Don't talk to me about power dynamics. I know power dynamics. Not that tone. But, the whole robbing banks thing was just okay. But yeah, I totally forgot about that, honestly.
It's like, where's that going?
But per the whole thing about I haven't seen her show any sort of I told you that one episode, you guys completely ignored me. I said no, he walked in there at the end of that one episode, the one that I missed. At the end of that episode, the way she looked at him was the key. It was telegraphed a mile away that she had an interest.
I disagree with that.
Go back and look at her face when she looks at him.
That's because he was going to kill himself.
She didn't know he was going to kill himself.
But it was kind of kind of ominous, something's about to go down. Because I think when he came back, she was like, "Oh, Ed, it's you." She had a bad feel. I mean, maybe you might be right, but I will say that I did not get that.
No, the way
she
looked at him was her eyes had softened, dude. You guys really need to go back and look at it. And then because I remember I said it again. I said it last podcast, and you guys were like, "No, I didn't see it." You guys need to go back and watch, because they have even told you guys in the interviews that it was going to happen.
I wasn't there for that. Don't believe me.
Did you not listen to the recordings that Josh made, or
Josh tells me everything. So.
did you just completely skip that? The interview episodes?
He doesn't listen to those Tumblr interviews where, like...
Yeah, exactly. That whole Tumblr interview, because, what's his face? Corey Michael Smith said it was going to happen, and Marina Baccarin hinted at it. Like, it was like a whole thing.
And then the actors actually, like, did, like, a friend kiss to each other as, like, she was walking by, and then, like, somebody, like, got mad on, like, Twitter. It's like, I don't want him to kiss anyone else but, you know, me, fangirl. And then, like, a week later, she, like, when he came out of the closet, she said, I feel so foolish.
Well, that's why I'm annoyed, because this is stepping all over my Nygma pot ship.
Yeah, pretty much, but...
Yeah, I had the opposite reaction than Jan had, because while she was physically happy, I was physically disgusted, because I cannot unsee the history, as Stella and Dustin would say, and as Stella would say in her shipper spotlight, hot or not, this one is not, because I don't know. He killed Kristen Kringle, who I'm supposed to believe they were friends because they hung out like twice and they were both females working at the same place. And Lee was worried about Kristen for like 5 minutes after she disappeared, and framed her ex-fiance for murder while she was pregnant, and the stress and grief of it, had a hand in her miscarrying. So it's just, after all they've been through, it's like, it was hard enough for me to see them allying, but then I guess I eventually got used to that. But now it's, and by the way, about this robbing bank thing, when was that, like, when was he robbing banks? Like, and maybe I'm forgetting more.
I think it was last season when he first became the Riddler. He started doing that, like, in a montage.
Okay, because, I don't remember, like, I was like, they're talking like this is, like, the Dick Sprang Silver Age or something, but, like, because I feel like...
leotard.
Yeah, well...
Look,
because
that leotard was
a
amazeballs.
especially on Jim Carrey.
Yes.
How tight it was.
And also on this amazing cosplayer I saw at Dragon Con one year, his daughter was Supergirl. It was so cute.
Aw.
She was like up to my knee. It was like amazing.
Yeah. I do like Lee being extremely like calm and in control and toying with him throughout this. I like that. Like Don, I'm hoping that there's some sort of end game here, because like I don't like the idea of Lee Tompkins being evil ... again, because that's not the first time that's happened. But I mean, the last time we saw her, she did beat a guy's hand with a hammer
and shoot a woman in the head.
But, like, let's see, what has she done in the last year? She shot a guy in the head. She beat a guy's hand with a hammer. She released a virus, for everyone in the city. She buried homeless cop alive with a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, but I don't call that as part of it, because she was under, like, okay. Every time you say that, I'm like, she was under the influence of a drug. Everything.
And why was she under the influence of the drug? Why was she?
Because she took it herself.
Yes, she did.
Okay, anywho, after she took the drug, that's like injecting yourself with heroin and then like doing all the shit on the heroin that makes you think that it's great. So every decision she made under the influence, I don't like put under her. I put like the fact that she took the drug under her. That's like two separate things to me. Because everything she did after that was under the influence of like a psychotropic drug.
Strength enhancing drug.
Yeah, everything after that, when she got the cure, that is on her. She tried to she didn't forgive herself. She was trying to atone, and then it feels like she kind of just gave up on that and was like, whatever, I've done things, and it's just easier to do the things. It's easier to gain control by doing the things, sort of deal.
That's like Barbara.
That's where I'm at right now.
Because Barbara,
subject,
when she came out of Arkham Asylum, there was an episode where she seemed to me like she genuinely wanted to be an ally to Jim, and he rejected her.
Like Harley's Day Out.
A little bit, yeah. And then she moved back with Tabitha, and by the end of the season, she was a bad girl again.
Excuse me?
Harley's
Josh?
Holiday was the name of it.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, but the only difference is Batman followed her around and then saw that she did everything pretty much fine, but everyone else treated her like shit. In this, Babs went to Jim to be like, "Hey, I'm out and I'm better now," and he's like, "Fuck you, I'll kill you now," basically. So,
JCVD.
JCVD, Barbara. Like he couldn't shoot her because her name's not Barbara Mario. So
her middle name's Mario.
I mean,
that
I think
explains so much.
the talking point, in addition to Lee and Riddler as an item, is if this. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Like, you know, if she's playing Riddler, that's one thing. Because, and I'm only saying that because I don't really buy her legitimately saying, "Let's go rob banks, Riddler." I just don't find that to be like, even for this character, in what she's all done. Yeah, she's going through a lot, and she has kind of crossed a lot of lines in this season. But she went from, like, you know, saving a guy in that Riddler game to, like, now let's commit crime. Like, I don't see what else could be there besides a trick. So I'm willing to see where. Bless you. I'm willing to see where it goes. But if this is real, then okay, that was gigantic whiplash in terms of, like, the plot and stuff.
Well, and Marina McCarran said in that Tumblr interview that, like, Lee's not necessarily worried about obeying the law right now as long as it's for Robin Hood purposes.
Like every single character in the show.
I mean, I don't feel she's in love with Riddler, but I do feel that she has affection for Ed. That's the difference.
That's probably true.
So, I mean, she could be playing the Riddler, but she's also protecting Ed by pointing Riddler in the right direction-ish, if she is playing him and using him as a weapon. And she's kind of, I feel like, pulling the two together if they both hold affection for her. You know what I mean? Because they're two parts of the same person.
Yeah, I was going to say that this is also, like, some of the most like explicit in terms of, like, dialogue, sort of demonstration that Ed and Riddler are two separate personas. And because they kind of brought it out in, like, you know, language, I didn't like that.
They were Golluming a few weeks ago.
I know, but like, it's not that, you know, like, oh, now I'm thinking about it for the first time. It's that fact that, like, they mention, you know, Ed is gone, I am the Riddler. I wish this did not have to be, but whatever. I'm powerless.
There's, like, a whole thing that has to do with, like, multiple personality disorders where they actually kill off the other person and the person actually literally dies. But also there's, like, the whole thing where they can't fuse and just become one person, but they also feel like that is a death too, because they're not two people anymore, they're, like, one person.
This is in my final form.
Yeah. So they're not, like, defined, and I can see where that would be more like a struggle. I understand why it feels like Two-Face. I want to see where they go with this versus, like, just saying, oh, this is just Two-Face, because Two-Face is just two people. Period.
Two-Face is like, he's the coin. Either
yeah.
it's you know, it depends on the flip of the coin. Whereas this is straight up. I mean, it's not strictly Two-Face. Like, Two-Face doesn't talk to himself in the mirror unless it's like James Robinson's running post-Infinite Crisis. Yeah. But, like, this is legitimately like dissociative identity disorder. And again, like,
yeah.
You know, that is these Batman villains are diagnosed, but, like, that's not the Riddler's thing. That's kind of a Scarface thing almost, but, like, whatever. It's just not something that I prefer. I'm not going to make a big stink about it because they've been doing this since season 1, I think. But, like,
yeah.
I'd rather it be something.
It was very jarring in season 1, but at this point I'm used to it, so it's not very. I don't know. I found ways to, like, rationalize it at this point, because to me now it's just what it is, and they can't. Didn't Harvey go off to, like, a TV show that died?
Well, I think that's the reason. It's like it's borrowing from another Batman character that they had on the show and didn't use, because the Riddler's thing the Riddler's thing is obsessive compulsive disorder. And I think that Lee actually says you're going to tell me because that's how you can't not tell me. That is legitimately his crippling sort of, like, mental deficiency. But, like, they well, you know,
Penguin said it too.
Right. But in Gotham, it's like, yeah, but, you know, multiple personality disorder, though. So it's like they want to go for more theatrical, sort of like quote unquote insanity. It's just well, I would rather they not rob Two-Face of his.
Yeah, they played up his OCD more in season 1, because I remember that's what he got in trouble for doing, the Miss Kringle's office, or not office, but her filing system. And then like there was another episode with Miss Kringle where like she's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm surgically removing all the something from his
onions."
Yeah, all the onions from his like Chinese takeout or like whatever it was.
That's what
like,
I do.
Speaking of which, there's another like Bullock is hungry joke this episode. Like, I don't know.
When he
like,
chased Scarecrow and Mad Hatter going to eat them, yeah, it was.
Well, he's like, "This reminds me, I could use a sandwich right now." I don't remember what it was. They were like in the maze, but.
Bullock.
Yeah. Bullock,
If I had known it was like gonna be a couple of acres, I would have gotten a sandwich. Yeah.
Will he ever stop eating? But yeah, Lee. And then when Jim finds out, Lee, you're with the man who framed me for murder? You slept with my sister-in-law. All right, let's call it even. And they like
also killed her husband.
Yeah. but that plot line is settled. She learned her lesson.
Yeah, but also he framed her for murder, but like part of the stress came from the terrible way Jim handled it.
There was
he
a
wasn't
huge argument
about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't put that all on Ed, because she was ready to be there and support him, and she would have been fine if she had just been able to like continue to have contact with him in jail. But he was like, "No, Lee, never speak to me again."
Are you rooting for Lee? Sorry, I didn't remember. But are you rooting for them as a couple?
No, I'm just saying, like. Every time we talk about Lee and Nygma, he always brings up it's his fault that this happened. It's like, no.
Yes,
she told him he was... Yes, but also, Jim was not there for her while she was pregnant. He told her to go away.
I would put it on both of them, but mostly on Nygma, because like he did take lives and he did extreme actions to get Jim in that situation.
It's Jim's fault after he got out of jail for not seeing Lee, but it's Riddler's fault for putting him in jail in the first place.
The baby was already gone by
Oh my God, you guys are not listening. Not just after, I mean during too.
During,
she would have supported him. She would have visited him. She would have like kept contact with him. It would have been a lot better. When you love somebody, you need contact with them, and then he cut her off completely. That also stressed her out. You can't blame just the Riddler. You also have to blame Jim and his stupid pride. I don't need her to see me like this. She deserves more than me. Bitch, she can make her own decisions. If it was her decision not to speak with him, then that would have been the problem. It was his decision that she could not come see him.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I think that it is partially Jim's fault as well, but I'll still say that it's Nygma's fault too, because Nygma played a big role in making that situation happen.
Yeah, but I'm still saying it feels like that is only one piece of it. Like, it set up the situation, but the fact is, if Jim had been more supportive, it would have went a lot better.
And for all we know, there could have been other medical factors involved. You know, like it was just she lost the baby. Like it could have been an unrelated medical issue, because I don't remember them being specific. Like, I don't remember it was like she had a broken heart. Or
that's why you doubted that she did have a miscarriage, because it was just she lost the baby. There was no given reason.
Yeah, it was off screen. Yeah, I didn't believe that for a long time. But then I didn't believe she was pregnant in the first place either. So, but that's all plot lines from like 2 years ago. And anything else on the latest development in coupledom?
Yeah, I just had to say my piece, because that's literally the only part you focus on. And it just bothers me, because I'm like, no,
it's a pretty big part.
Yeah, but it's all you focus on. I'm like, no, Jim f***ed up too. It's not just Ed.
I'm pretty sure I've given Jim his fair share of shit for all the
Yeah, but you never mentioned that in this case. You just focus like he's the sole reason that she miscarried that baby. He is not the sole reason. It's how it was handled after all that stuff happened. she had no support after any of that, because Jim, like, he was in prison, but she still needed like support and someone there for her. Like, even if he wasn't physically there, he was in prison. Like,
Josh did rag on him for like
The show
not calling
kinda-
her after he got out.
yeah, but like he's
Oh.
not talking about it now. He's just saying it's Ed's fault that she lost the baby every time.
Well, because right now it's all about her and Ed. Like, her
Yeah.
and Homeless are like, that's why I'm mentioning it now. She and Homeless Cop were, I don't know, like, if there was, and plus Jim, I don't want to say Jim atoned for it, but like they did have that confrontation around it where they didn't specifically mention the baby, but I do remember her like giving him shit about it at her wedding when like he's like, Lee, don't marry Mario. It's a marriage that'll be unsuccessful. It probably won't even last past the honeymoon for reasons yet to be determined, And she was like, no, you like weren't there for me. You abandoned me. I remember her crying. So,
Yeah.
I mean, so but I think I've given Jim responsibility for it. And when I'm saying like it's Ed's fault, I don't mean it's just Ed's fault, but
but it's
I'm
like
talking of-
every time we talk about it, like it's the only part of the whole conversation that you brought up for like the last season. So I just felt the need to throw that in there for just to remind people that it's not strictly Ed's fault. Because even if they have watched the show, even if they know what happened, when you like omit things and you repeat things, it kind of just like that's all they remember.
Creates a narrative.
Yeah. So I just needed to fix it.
Fair enough. Anything else on Lee and Nygma?
I think we spent 40 minutes on that, so let's move on.
Yeah, just yeah,
All right,
I mean, I think it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here.
I hope it's somewhere interesting because that really bothers me on a lot of levels. But I mean, I guess that's what it's been this season. Like couples that bother me, couples that are inappropriate, couples that shouldn't be a couple.
Well, physically, they're really nice to look at together.
Yeah, I'll give them that. Oh, and like Don said, I'll just add this. It gets in the way of the Nygma pod ship, which finally there was no obstacle standing in the way. But oh well.
This is the most calm I think Penguin's ever been in an episode. Except for like Butch choking him, but like generally he didn't like twitch or scream or anything.
I think he's just biding his time. He has a plan now. He's chill.
Yeah. Let's talk about that before we get to Jerome, because this is a small enough plot line. It's I'm with Butch, where he's like, "Why would I work with you?" And
He's not wrong.
no, he's not wrong. It's like, you cut off his hand, you betrayed him. He's like, "You and I used to run this town together." It's like, no, well, yeah, I kind of did, but it's like he also used you a lot, and like
When Butch got
cut
his
off
memories
your
back,
hand.
like one of the first sharpest memories he had was Penguin chopping his hand off. So like you can tell, like
Yep.
that shows you how much that pissed him off, as you might imagine.
Or how memorable it was. It was the first time he lost a hand. It was the only time he lost a hand. My bad. It was Tabitha who lost it the second time.
Well, and he went to work with Penguin after that hand thing, because after like Butch helped, betray Penguin and didn't kill Penguin's mom, but like basically was a part of that whole trap, when they split up. He like said to Penguin, like after he like tarred and feathered Penguin, he's like, "You and I are dumb. We're not going to work together again." But then they teamed up to kill Galavan, and for some reason we're best friends again. Which like I listened back to season 3, and Don and I were like very confused by that. But then again, like a few episodes later, Penguin threw Butch out again because like Nygma like goaded Butch into betraying Penguin, and then like used that as so Butch is unloyal to you. Although Butch was being unloyal anyway, from what I recall. Like that wasn't entirely Nygma goading him into it, but like Nygma was like proving that Butch was unloyal, because I do remember he was using the Red Hood gang and stuff like that, and I remember season 3. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was trying so hard to just look good in front of
Tabitha.
Penguins. Oh yeah, Tabitha. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also
But-
was trying to edge out
Nygma.
Nygma,
that's
because he was
'cause they
being
hated each
replaced.
other. Yeah.
He was being replaced by Nygma, so he wasn't happy with that either. So he was trying to do two birds with one stone.
Because, like, wasn't Butch trying to, like, fix the election? And, like, Nygma was like, no, we're going to win this honestly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm remembering that now.
And that's why he fell in love with him, because he was all like, oh my god, you really believe in me.
Yeah, so Butch, and then when he brings, like, he's like, okay, Butch, I promise not to betray you. And then he brings in the Jerome. Jerome's like, oh, our test subject. I was like, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. He's betraying him again right away. And then when he's like, we'll find Hugo Strange together and cure you, like, well, you don't need him to find Hugo Strange. He just told you the solution. You find Hugo Strange by yourself and kill Penguin. And he's like, next time you come here. Well, why does he need Penguin for that?
Penguin's the one with all the connections, isn't he?
Yeah, but Tabitha lives with Barbara, and Barbara has connections up her ass, and Barbara owes him a favor for shooting him in the head.
Yeah, I would totally ask someone who shot me in the head for a favor. That is exactly what I would do.
Yeah, but she can have Tabitha lean on her for it. Like, I feel like it would be easier for him to get Barbara to work with him than to, like, I don't
seriously doubt it, considering she now has a magical glowing hand and an army of female assassins at her beck and call who don't give a shit.
who can find Strange at a moment's notice with those League of Shadows people. Granted, he doesn't know about that.
Yeah, but then she would
Tabitha and him,
just
like,
use
are
Hugo to
Snapchatting.
try to blackmail him into doing what she wants for as long as she wants. That's how she works.
You're writing the rest of the season.
I am writing the rest of the season because that's what I do. But
that's what we do on the show.
But yeah, that's what she would do. She would just be like, no, you're going to go smash these people's heads in, and then I will give you the location of la-di-da-di-da. And then Tabitha would betray her and take the thing. Then they'll run off together in love.
And Butch has his own connections, too, because I remember throughout season 1, he was, like, Penguin did not know how to run Fish's Club, and, like, Butch had to, like, tell him, like, what to do, who to talk to, who to contact.
Yeah,
And
those people are dead.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
Those people are dead.
I don't know. I feel like Butch would be able to find Strange without Penguin, but maybe Butch is just so maybe lost enough that he'll listen to Penguin again. But wow, I wasn't mad about that the way I was with Nygma and Lee, but it seems to be a theme this season that, like, people who, like, should not want to be anywhere near each other again will, like, team up.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, I don't know, like, it's someone who, like, killed someone's like, especially when he's like,
Smallville,
you know, I can help you get
Chloe and Lex's dad.
What?
I can help you get Tabitha back. Like, and I'm like, you mean the Tabitha that killed your mom that, like, now, like, you're trying to, like, you know, set up a love connection with?
Nah, that's a good point. Yeah, why would he give a shit? It's like, Jan, in Smallville, like, Lex Luthor's father tried to kill a character in Smallville, and then, like, 2 seasons later, they're literally having, like, a Thanksgiving feast and passing the biscuits.
Yeah, sitting right next to each other. That was.
I never personally. I wasn't thinking that it made no that the Penguin and Grundy stuff made no sense. I like the fact that Butch. This cannot be the first time Butch stood up to Penguin, but I like seeing it here. And
It isn't.
Yeah, no, yeah, I don't think it is, but it's, you know, because he's Grundy, he can pop him like a grape, so it's fun seeing that.
He could have popped him like a grape earlier.
I still don't really, and I know we talked about this last episode, if not the episode before. I still don't really buy this whole, you know, Tabitha will never love me, when, like, I think she said exactly the opposite when he left. But whatever, it's a plot line.
Well, he's not confident, you know, like, so he's not hearing that. But yeah, like, it's, dude, like, you're fine. She'll accept you. You have 2 hands now and super strength. You're golden.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
If I was Hugo Strange, I would be like, we're going to do a complicated surgical procedure, and he just, like, puts Butch on there and it's like, no, Peabody's ghost, get me the, like, paint. He just, like, paints, like, Butch's, like, he just, like, paints Butch's skin, and he, like, wakes up like, there, I've changed you back to a human, you know, like,
he does the
everything works
lots
out
of, like, frankincense to cover the dead smell.
Yeah. Well, I thought about that dead smell thing after you mentioned it the last last time, I thought about that smell thing after you mentioned it the last time, and I was wondering if that was because when Nygma finds him, he's in the sewer. Like, maybe it was the sewer that was making him smell. Like, was it ever established in the episodes where he wasn't in the sewer that he stunk?
Yeah, he was in the.
I don't remember.
He was in that club in the Narrows.
Well, I don't remember them going pee.
And he lived in an apartment with Ed Nygma.
But did they mention his smell in those episodes, or was it just Barbara saying "pu"? Of course, it's Grundy. I can smell him.
It's just Barbara.
Okay, so maybe like Grundy doesn't smell. He just smelt in that episode because he was living in the sewer.
No, he was living in the thing.
But when Nygma went to find him to smell, he went down into the sewer to get him. So maybe that's why
true.
Barbara was saying, yeah. So like maybe, I mean, because when Tabitha was like kissing him and stuff, she wasn't like gagging or like holding her nose.
Yeah, but
Barbara's such an asshole that like she could have been exaggerating the smell because nobody else said anything.
she said he smelled like moldy teeth.
Right, but that could have been her being like, an 8th grade girl, like, oh, like you.
Yes,
you
8th grade.
Yeah, the grade that Stella teaches.
Oh, okay.
Anything else on Grundy and Cobblepots?
Hugo Strange!
Yes, BD Wong was like being fitted for a bald cap on set on like Instagram a few months ago, so we know that he's that he comes back.
And if he fitted for his like goatee too.
It's
his
so
Hugo Strange
excited!
As with all characters that I love, as with all the characters I love that are not like Bruce Wayne, I hope that they don't, because I was really worried about him last season and the season before, especially when he was like fried and frozen at the same time. He somehow survived. I hope he doesn't get killed off, but I'm happy to see him again.
Same. He needs to be eternal.
He needs to be the final. He needs to join the League of Assassins.
It's true. He'll take it over. Hello. What are we doing today? We are going to raid the ice cream shop.
Oh gosh, the ice. Yeah, because it's funny because my friend Lindsay, you guys know this from the group chat, but the listeners don't, is like going through the show, and like when she got up to the Hugo Strange episode, she's like, "This guy's really creepy. What's with this ice cream therapy?" And then when she got up to the end of season 3, she said, "Is Barbara really dead?" And I was like, "Do you want me to answer that?" She's like, "Oh God, that means that she's not, is she?" And I was like, "Well, she's dead, but someone takes an interest in her and brings her back." And then Lindsay said, "Oh God, it's not that creepo Hugo Strange, is it?" I was like, no.
No, it's someone better.
Yeah.
I don't know if I find him actually scary, which is
I was gonna say like someone who should be better. Historically wise, in the comic books and in the animated series, and
you like the actor.
I love the actor. The writing was terrible.
We're at the point now where I think we can call it with Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's.
Didn't I say I hope he never comes back? So
wow.
So
I'm willing to be proven. I'm willing to be proven wrong, but like between his whatever thing that he was looking for, and like Barbara, we're like just alike, which made me gag. Like I don't know, like they're really screwing the pooch with this character. And he should be on the show in the first place.
I feel like he was incredibly wasted on this show. Let's make him racially accurate, and then
give his power to the white woman.
Give his power to a white woman. Yes,
because real talk, the League of Assassins should be like a season finale threat. Like they should take over all of Gotham, and that should be the big thing. Not him.
Now they're just like a tool.
Yeah, like we're at your disposal, minor character in the series.
And they're all brown.
Yes.
There's characters who I have soft spots for in this show, and you guys know this because of my history with Barbara. But like,
did your 2 weeks of reading the history of her?
Yeah, well, it was a fun 2 weeks. And similar to that, I will always have a soft spot for Alexander Siddig and Ra's al Ghul because that time that he tried to kill Ben right in front of me at Comic-Con. You
have a soft spot because of that.
Well, it's not many people that try and kill Ben.
I mean, I don't think I've ever disliked any of the actors. I mean, no, No, like even if they do things that like in terms of performance choices that I don't really care for, I don't think I've ever. I think the actor is the most blameless part, and Alexander Siddiq is a very charismatic, energetic actor. But like the bullshit they're making,
incredibly attractive while he was there.
but like the crap they're making this character do is like so. Like, as Rachel Gould should be like, holy shit, it's Rachel Gould, we're in trouble. Not like, oh, it's him. What's he up to this day? You know, they're nerfing the character's potential.
It's nerf for nothing.
Yes, exactly.
Jerome and Jeremiah Suckleblue.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to bring this up real quick. That like, if I watch this episode, and I'm not putting blame on you, Josh, but if I watched this episode totally cold, I would have been really surprised by like the whole Jeremiah stuff. But apparently, there's been a ton of leaks about the last few episodes of this season because it was spoiled for me that he had a brother of some sort. So like, otherwise, I thought this is a pretty surprising turn of events.
It was for me. I didn't see it coming. I don't go onto Reddit. So
no, well, neither do I. But Josh is excited as it's like, oh, there's gonna be his brother. It's like, okay.
Yeah, thank goodness. I'm all like,
it wasn't just Reddit. It was like different. There was like different pieces of the puzzle, like because somebody said in an interview, it might have been Davi Mazouz, was saying that like Cameron Monaghan was going to play a separate character. And then
damn it, Mazouz. He's the Tom Holland of the show.
It was either him or someone else. And then around that same time, at the Tumblr thing, Ben McKenzie said that Jerome is looking for a family member. So between that and he's going to play a separate character, people were saying, okay, so Jerome's looking for his twin. And then the makeup person for Gotham like posted something on social media of like
that's been
all
out.
of
Yeah, like that's I won't say what it is, but like that's practically not even a spoiler because those images have been out.
It's it's a separate thing because it's not a spoiler. What it is like the makeup guy posted, it was like a collage of like all the people whose hair and makeup he did, and in it you saw Jeremiah in his like glasses and like slick back like Clark Kent look. So people like, aha, so here's Jerome's like twin brother, and then the name Jeremiah like was leaked by somebody on Reddit who like so I think works on the set or something. So
what a dumbass.
There was multiple pieces like separately, and then there's a few pieces about what comes next that have kind of been out.
Yeah, don't tell me. I'll kill you.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not planning on telling you. I'm not planning on telling you, but like it's not hard to figure out based on what
I can't believe
the producers
Superman shows up.
I can't.
The black blue blur.
I can't believe that there's a triplet, and
I really do like Jeremiah though. But mostly because I like nerdy guys, and he seems off. And
they had in the previously on Gotham thing, like the line from like, "Do you have anyone else? The circus is my family." So
yeah, they'll do that sometimes with the flashbacks.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, so you could say that Jerome was lying, but then I also there was other things too, because I feel like that episode implied that like Jerome seemed relatively normal until he killed his mom, but then like there's the stuff that Jeremiah was saying like, oh, we always knew you were crazy.
Has kind of been retconned since season 1 because you're right, in that episode it was like his whole thing was with his mom, and since season 2 it's like, oh, he's just the Joker, like he's you know, he's all about laughing and performing, like it wasn't like he was fully formed after that. So there is a bit of I mean, it's too far now to really make a stink about it. But there has been sort of inconsistency if we're going back to his original episode.
I think the inconsistency is worth mentioning here because this deals with that history.
Yeah.
That like, oh, he was always like this, and I feel if he was always like this, when Jim and Lee were like investigating this in season 1, like wouldn't all the circus people have been like, it's probably her psycho
that freak who laughs all the time and threatens people.
Yeah, it's probably her psycho son that like set the kid's bed on fire. And wouldn't they have like found out about the twin brother while they were investigating all that too? And he's like, oh, I had to hide from Jerome. You had to hide from Jerome when he was like in a traveling circus, like, you know, years later.
I have a hankering that Jan has an explanation for this.
No, continue to speculate.
Just the family history thing seemed a little off, and I'm a little confused by the conversation with Jerome and Jeremiah. I'll have to watch it again, but like, was Jerome basically saying that like Jeremiah lied about how
That's
the
very
violence
interesting.
that Jerome did. And then, like, he lied to get him sent away? And why? And,
I think it's safe to say that, like, it's not so much technically a retcon, but it's they came up with the idea of this Jeremiah brother this season. It was not planned ahead, but, like, because of that, it actually makes things less predictable.
yeah, I guess I am going to go back and watch that episode again.
That being said,
one.
He's not the Joker stuff because he was spitting references all over this episode. Like the Jack Nicholson line about just being an artist. All it takes is one bad day. So, like, oh, he's not the Joker yet. Yeah, blow me. Like come on. Like, who are you trying to fool?
He's making Joker venom.
Yes, which was.
Oh my god!
I will say, as somebody who was so upset last week, I'm not gonna lie. That was like, oh shit!
Exactly. You saw my you saw my
your explosion.
You heard my reaction when you called.
And I want to talk about. We can talk about that real quick. Is that, like, that was horrifying? I mean, it was a CGI like kind of grin, and, like, his eye was like that was legitimately. That was kind of perfect, actually, and his reaction to it was great.
My favorite part was how I usually hate when people use, like, CGI or whatever, but when they warped his mouth back into, like, a bigger mouth while he was, like, laughing, because you see that in the cartoons, the animated series, when they went into the people's faces and they were doing they were hit with the Joker gas, and their film completely, like, go white, and then they would get the red lips and everything, and then their mouths would just pull back into bigger grins. So the fact that his face was, like, straight up, like, warping was, like, I don't know, I got excited.
No, it was
Joker.
It was awesome.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, like, it was the CGI was like, I don't want to say it was bad because it was so obviously CGI, but it that made it kind of scary.
Yeah. Oh my god, like, because it. First of all, like, I'm just gonna say, Joker gas, like, is one of the most terrifying things in the world to me personally. After seeing it in the animated series, and also after seeing it in Batman and
89?
Robin Eternal.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Duke Thomas's parents.
Yeah, Duke Thomas. So the Joker gassed the entire city, and no, that was during Death of the Family, I think, wasn't it?
I think the story where he
I think that was Endgame.
Yeah, where he came back.
Oh my god. Anywho, so he gassed, like, the city, and then Duke Thomas's parents were affected by it, and they can't cure them because they were affected too long. And then he goes and sees his parents, and they're always, like, smiling, and then he'll, like, talk to them, and they will, like, laugh a little bit, and then you could just see them crying because they're sad on the inside, but they can't stop laugh. That is fucking terrible. He can't fix his parents. And for those who don't know who Duke Thomas was, he was in We Are Robin and
The Signal,
the Detective Comics, and he is now The Signal. Yeah. So there's that. But yeah, no, most of my trauma comes from watching the animated series, because those were like the scariest episodes of the Joker. He could have been doing anything, but if it was like that gas, I just didn't want any of it.
I think I mentioned this because I did the commentary for The Laughing Fish a few years ago. Like, when that episode, like Bruce Timm says, like, they made that episode purposely scary. Like, they wanted that to be like the scariest Joker episode because it starts off with no title card, and especially the scene where the guy dressed as Batman starts laughing. Like, I would, like, run out of the room, and, like, Mask of the Phantasm, when you see Sal Valestra all jokered up, like, that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
I love it now, but, like, no, it's great, and just kind of pointing out there, like, this goes back to Batman #1, the first appearance of the Joker. Like, he would murder people, and they would not even explain it. They would just be, like, smiling, and they would look, even with the old artwork, with the Bob Kane artwork, they look really kind of creepy. So it's a classic, old school, golden age kind of thing, and I loved Cameron Monaghan's reaction to it. He's like, "We gotta get more of this shit." That was awesome.
Yes. I was just like, oh, my jaw hit the floor, and I was like, they're going for it. They're I've never been so excited for anything from a comic or the animated series to make it into this show. Like, I was excited for Hugo Strange to come back, but the Joker cast.
I kind of even liked how most of the villains were generally like, whoa, this is weird. I didn't like Freeze, like, because, like, that's whatever. But, like Hatter was like, oh, God. And, like, Scarecrow and Firefly kind of, like getting freaked out. But, like, yeah, but Jerome was, like, popping a boner. He's like, this is cool.
Yes, that's how he should be. But going back to... Wait. Did we want to go back to the discussion about Jerome and Jeremiah, or are you guys done with that?
No, I mean, well, we can go all over the place.
I kind of jumped the gun with that because I want to talk about it.
Yeah, there's a lot
it's like
going
so
on.
good. I am with you. I just don't want it to like be bad. Next episode, I just want to still continue to hold on to these good feelings.
If Gordon gets hit by that gas and they warp in McKenzie's face.
Oh my gosh, please.
And he just sees a bunch of Marios and shoots all of them?
They're everywhere.
Oh my god. I just have to bring this up before we go back to
Nygma
like
kissing Lee, and it's the back of his head, so he thinks that it's Mario. And he shoots Nygma in the back. Oh my god.
His head is too small.
He's returned from the grave.
What was I going to say? I don't even remember what I was going to say now.
I don't think it makes you lose it. Well, I mean, like, I remember, like, I didn't like the ending of Death of the Family because, like, the Bat family gets gassed and they just, like, survive with no explanation. I was like, that's bullshit. But, the Jeremiah brother thing, it feels like a non sequitur. But that line about, oh yeah, you told people that I put a knife to your neck and I tried to burn your bed and stuff, like, and he was
yeah.
Yeah, he's like, maybe though I was not totally truthful. I was like, okay, I don't know. I don't know where they're going. This legitimately got me intrigued. I cannot imagine where this might lead to.
How I feel about it is, okay, so Jerome was mistreated for most of his life, and if not all of it. And part of it was his uncle mistreated him. His mother didn't think he was anything. And now it's just saying that like he had this twin brother the entire time who framed him for a lot of stuff, who was like super smart. So his brother was actually smarter than he is. And basically pushed everybody to mistreat his brother, who he felt was lesser than him in general. Because you can tell by the way that he speaks about him. And he's all like, yeah, no, I can take care of this because I can take care of my brother because, I've always taken care of my brother. And I don't mean in a way of like, I'm going to like nurture him, but more in a way of like,
responsibility.
What is it? No, of kind of holy shit, what are words? He's manipulated his brother's life. He put him on this path.
Well, I maybe. We don't know the full story.
Like, he might have had the disposition for it, but, like, the whole one bad day, his brother was the bad day, like, over and over again. His brother, while he seems to be, like, the nicer one, I feel is actually the more malicious one. And they keep saying that Jerome is not the Joker. And he said he was going to drive his brother insane. So one of the things it could be is, like, Jeremiah could eventually be the Joker just so that they don't have to eat their words, despite all of the, all of the references and everything. That's how I feel like they're trying to do with this. I don't exactly agree with it, but that's what would make most sense to me at this point. What else is there?
Well, can I interrupt you? I'm asking if I can interrupt you, but like, if they pull that card and it's like, oh, actually, the Joker was this guy, would that not be bullshit? Because that is literally Henry
it's
James
still
Olsen.
Bullshit, but
that is literally what they like the joke that we always make about Smallville and Jimmy Olsen. That's literally what they did. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I would.
Henry James Joker.
we'll cross that bridge, when this storyline concludes, after we see if they do it or not. But like,
because they have been saying that he's not the Joker and someone else is a Joker and he influences the Joker, so that would.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say that there's puzzle pieces out there. Like, not necessarily all spoilers, but like, if you take all the statements that they've been saying about this, like the last few months, like it fits together, and so I'm trying not to speculate too much because at this point, with like,
you feel you can draw a conclusion yourself.
Well, I don't want to draw a conclusion that could be considered a spoiler, but at the same time, like the information's out there, and I'm not even talking about like the Reddit leaks. I'm talking about like
just everything they've said.
Like, yeah, everything that they've said. It's not
even a leak. It's stuff that they've officially like tried to say.
Someone like the Dustin signal, because this sounds like a conversation he ought to be in for. Like when that episode comes.
No, he'll be right. We're all right. It is BS that they would do that, but they've been saying that from the beginning, and then eventually they've been like, well, he influences he's not the Joker, but he strongly influences like the Joker.
That doesn't make it any better, though. I mean,
I think we're all on the same page right now, so that like we can say this out loud. Jeremiah's gonna be the Joker. That's not that's not a question. I was kind of dancing around it a little bit because I didn't want to say
You're
it out
not
loud,
spoiling
and
anybody.
didn't want to hear it. But yeah, it's
there's that.
Sorry, go ahead. So we can talk about the repercussions of that, but I mean, I don't want to jump the gun too and like be mad about it before it's happened, because Davi Mazouz also said that it was going to be one of the most brilliant things that the show's ever done. So maybe it'll be done well, but I don't like the idea of it because like this is the guy who we've been investing in for the last few years, who that we're attached to, and yeah, it's the same actor, but like. It's kind of like, this is another Simpsons reference, but it makes sense. But it's kind of like Fat Tony and Fit Tony, where like they killed off the character Fat Tony, who was around for like 20 years, and they replaced him with his twin brother, who was Fit Tony, who looked just like Fat Tony, but he had muscles. But the stress of being a mafia don made him like gain weight, and he became Fat Tony. And then they just like never mentioned it again. Like, so now like
it's worse than Armin Tamzarian.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's what I'm saying is like, they can. You're right. They have been saying since like the Red Hood episode, there's multiple people for the Joker, or when they killed off Jerome, and there were people like laughing for no reason when they watched television, and the cult of Jerome. I mean, it's not as though they've not put in work about that, but I still find that bullshit, because why is this Trojan horse being the Joker if he's not the character? There's no reason for him to act like a character that he is not. That'll be like me acting like a future version of like, I don't know, an astronaut or something in every single way, but I'm not that character. It's like, why would I do that?
You could be. You have your whole life ahead of you.
Yeah, you could be an astronaut. You don't have glasses.
I turned to Arthur Reed.
It's my twin brother. I mean, you already have a brother.
There's actually
Morgan Grant.
A 60
Donald
minutes.
Grant.
There's actually a 60 minutes special about like twins, especially twins who kind of like were adopted and grown up apart from each other, and then find each other years later. So like it's kind of an interesting coincidence.
Why didn't the blind fortune teller in either of his 2 episodes like mention that he had another son?
There is
like
another.
Again, and you make the Star Wars joke, but yeah, it's like, they hid me away so that you wouldn't find me. He's not Luke Skywalker hiding from Darth Vader. Like
his reputation did not precede him at the moment.
Right, like they had to hide. They couldn't let 10-year-old like Jerome Valeska know his brother's location because this 10-year-old was gonna like find him with the Empire and execute Order 66. Like it's. To
be fair, it was more like what is it? So he made it, from what I could glean, except for the blind fortune teller, which is definitely a plot hole. The whole thing about like trying to hide him away, it made it sound like he was definitely framing his brother as more dangerous than he actually was. So they would want to like remove him from. They threw him in an orphanage, basically, didn't they? Saint Ignatius was an orphanage school, right?
But it was also like a school like that he like excelled, because I was trying to do the math about
Like
the
boys'
ages.
Yeah.
I was trying to do the math about the ages because I always got the impression that Jerome in season 1 was like someone who was in his mid to late teens. Like he was between
I thought he was like 18
15
years old.
Yeah, I don't remember them giving his exact age, but I do feel like he was like a teenager. So they said that he was like, I think they used the age 24 here, or either
That was us talking about Cameron Monaghan's actual age.
Oh, but you know what? It is 24 because they said when I was 10 years old, you set the bed on fire, and then blah blah blah. I was taken away, and then they said, and then at one point they said 14 years ago. So I did the math, and I was like, okay.
I remember in season 2 them saying Jerome's age. Let me find this on the wiki because I feel that it was a teen age.
So if he's 24, which if you do the math here, like, you know, sometime after his 10th birthday, he was taken away, and that was 14 years ago. That would mean that he'd be around 20 or 21 in season 1. So I was like, okay, that's a little older than I thought, but I could kind of buy that.
And it's fine too. I mean, I'm not going to complain about that, but I really feel that like. Especially in like season 2, they're calling him kid and stuff. That he was meant to be like someone younger than 21.
Somebody on Google like put 18 as his age, but I don't know what the source is. Oh yeah, like there's a few sources that say that he was 18.
Okay, yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, this isn't me being John Wilson saying I need him to be as young as possible. I think that was the case.
Yeah, no.
I think they just didn't want him to be too much older than Bruce,
as opposed to everyone else. But yeah,
well,
that's
but
true.
I kind of liked him being around that age because I didn't want all the villains to either be like Gordon's age or Bruce's age. Like, you know, like Ivy and Selena were, you know, Bruce's age, and then like Harvey Dent was like, and Riddler were adults. So like I liked that there was people all over the age spectrum, so that like Jerome was like a little older than Bruce.
Here's a question, and this is a bit of a detour. How old do we think Nygma and Cobblepot are?
at least in their 30s.
Actually, didn't they state Penguin's age?
No, they're 20s. My bad.
When he met Pee Wee Herman, didn't they say that like he was 31 or something?
I don't know. I don't remember these details.
I think that like the idea is that like they're no older than the early 30s, but like because I'm wondering like, you know, in 15 years time when Batman is swinging around, will they be old men or will they just be kind of like middle aged?
Well, they do seem to be older than most of the villains. Well, at least in the 69, I think it is. They do seem to be
Batman
older
66?
than 66. Wow, numbers. They do seem to be older than him.
I would disagree because like I think like if you compared like Adam West to the other guy, Adam West was like 40 when he was doing that. I think they're all like the same. Generally, kind of.
I don't know. They just look older to me. I think it's because of probably the facial hair. Honestly,
Burgess Meredith was probably older.
This is insane, guys. While I was looking up Jerome's age, I found this interview with Cameron Monaghan, and the episode "Gentle Art of Making Enemies," which is when like he and Bruce are in the Mirror Funhouse. That episode was supposed to end with Jerome getting beheaded, and that was going to be like it.
By Bruce? By Gordon?
Yeah, probably not. I'm looking to see if he says who it was, but I was like,
because,
whoa.
Like, the whole point of that was like, I must not kill, cut to season 4. But like,
yeah, I doubt Bruce would have done that. That would have been, but like,
they could not have Batman behead somebody unless it was a monster. Like that would be ridiculous.
Wow.
Or Ben Affleck.
But,
okay, Cobblepot is 31 years old.
Okay.
But like,
is that on the wiki?
I'm glad that they didn't go with, first of all, behead. That would have been shocking. But second of all, like he had just come back from the dead like 1 or 2 episodes before, so that would have felt like a waste.
Why would you? I mean, I know that like a running theme with the Joker, especially in the animated series, was that he would like fall to his death and always survive. But like, why would you constantly like, you know, definitively kill him only to bring him back like he's Mothra or something?
Okay.
Who?
I don't think the producers will mind me saying that initially Jerome wasn't going to live, Monaghan told Nerdist. He wasn't originally going to make it through this confrontation. He was going to be beheaded, and that was going to be it for him. Ultimately, they decided that instead we'll go the opposite way and really embrace the idea of the character being involved in the Joker mythos. They decided not to dance around it, but instead embrace it and bring the audience on the roller coaster ride for this episode, allowing it to be open and then playing into whether they decide to do that stuff later down the line. Okay. So they said he wasn't going to survive the confrontation, that he'd be beheaded, but they doesn't say if Bruce did it. So maybe, I don't know. That's weird.
I think we can safely say that this is the most intriguing plot point we've ever talked about in Gotham. I can't imagine ever being more interested in terms of what's going on. Without a hint of irony or annoyance. Like I'm genuinely interested as to like where this is going. Even if I get pissed off, I don't know the answer right now.
I feel like they'd have to do like some really crazy stuff for me to get angry because, like I said, if they do a bait and switch Henry James Joker, it still doesn't bother me because I've been expecting it this entire time because they needed to do something to back up what they were saying at this point, considering how close he is to the Joker.
They'll need to do some like fast dancing because to like say that like Jerome was acting like his brother because like why would the Joker have the persona and like character tics of a different character first? That feels that feels ingenuine.
That's something that bothered people back in season 2 when Jerome was killed, and like it was revealed that like he was inspiring all these people laughing watching TV because they said that means that whoever becomes the Joker now is basically being a derivative of someone else.
Yeah, I said that.
And then another person, like had a fun solution to that, saying actually what would be funny is like if Batman ever does meet the Joker and like compares him to like Jerome, and then like Joker said, "Who's Jerome? Never heard of him." Like that like he's just like that on his own.
It's not Bugs Bunny, It's like,
oh my God, guys! Yeah. I swear to God, if they do the whole thing where Jeremiah is the Joker, I swear to, if he does not say, "Wait till they get a load of me," I'm gonna quit the show.
That'd be cool.
I will quit the show. I just need to wait till they get a load of me. I'll be like, yeah.
Wing freak terrorizes. Wait till they get a load of me. And then Cameron Bigadova licks Tommy Mazzal's nose. I'm still waiting for that to happen.
Oh man, he hasn't got another. He's got another year before she can do that.
Before they can eat mistletoe.
Yes, and then die because it's poison if you eat it.
A kiss
can be deadlier if you mean it.
Oh my gosh, oh wait, we already knew this about each other.
Do we have to fight now?
I love that line.
Yeah. But before we close off, honorable mentions to some, funny moments like Bullock, like, oh, hell no, you're not.
That's what I wanted to segue earlier when he was just screaming and running and shit.
Yeah.
And then Mad Hatter's like, let's get out of here, Scarecrow.
do.
We gotta go.
Also, honorable mention to another moment of like, someone having a hostage and Gordon like saying like, screw this and shooting anyway. Like, don't shoot her, I'll kill my. Yeah, don't shoot her or I'll shoot my brother.
Also,
no, you won't.
Okay. This is also like remember when that explosion killed the guy that was watching over Martine like 2 episodes ago? Like that explosion should have killed Gordon, Bruce, and Bullet because they were in the same room. And
it's true.
And I think I just like I'm calling major bullshit on that. Just have him leave the room.
It's scary grenade explosions.
I don't understand like bomb physics because it's either like the whole block goes or just one tiny person.
Well, but it's like why are they afraid?
Yeah, I mean,
why is it
look at me. I know nothing about bombs. I mean, I don't have a history with bombs. I know nothing about bombs at all.
Is that a plug for our show? Oh,
a plug for the worst summer of my life.
But, honey.
But I mean, like they were playing up like, oh no, Bruce is scared. They're all scared. They don't want to set off the bomb. Obviously, they want to kill this guy. But like it's seen as like this is a big threat that will get all of them dead. And the bomb goes off and like nothing happens. Like that guy dying doesn't kind of count. So it's like
I feel like they shouldn't have shown the explosion so much as like it from far away because it was literally in one tiny spot, and Yeah, that was so anticlimactic. I was like, what are you doing? Because it's like he just explodes in that one place, and then I was like, were they supposed to like duck out? Like you guys didn't even have them like duck out and maybe have the fire brush them or something.
Yeah, do like an action movie pose, like Bruce Willis just like jump as a fireball, like almost gets them.
Yeah, exactly. Like do something like that, but nope. Just gonna.
That was incompetent. It's another word for it.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't know.
I was also surprised, and I know this is kind of. I guess the point of this script was kind of switch it up. But I was surprised how the last episode ended. Bruce was barely in this episode, and I get that was a point where he called his dad and he took him home and says, "If I ever see Alfred again, I'll arrest him." But
Alfred rolls his eyes again.
I was like, oh okay. I mean I was expecting Bruce to be a lot more active, but I wasn't mad about it. I was just I genuinely was surprised that he was hardly in the episode.
Ooh, I did like that Jerome called him Jimbo. I don't know why. That just made me happy.
Because it's a Joker thing.
He's like, hello, Jimbo. And I'm like, yes, just give me that. Give me more of that stuff. I just like Cameron. I don't care. Just give me like a triplet. I don't care as long as he's still in the show. Kill off like 50 of them. I don't care.
Yeah,
that's where I am right now.
For Cameron Monaghan.
I want to kiss more of his Joker
That's how I
ass.
feel right now.
He is so much fun to watch.
It's true.
Because
go ahead.
I have to imagine that the majority of his acting is ad-libbing because it's so spontaneous and none of it feels wrong ever. He has a spotless record on this show, and I love.
So good.
I just love just little touches of him kissing his brother on the head before he pushes him off and runs away, and him looking at the camera at the right moment. I mean, and that's what I was pointing out before we started recording. That the actor is really young. He's. He's easily. He's above Jared Leto as the Joker for me. He really is in to me. A top 5 contender for best live action Jokers. If you want to compare Cesar Romero, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, I guess there have only been 5 live action Jokers, but he's easily not last. Oh, now you're breaking up. Say again.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was trying to say there are only 5. There are only 5.
Yeah, I can't do math spontaneously.
Also I could not. I only saw the trailer and clips of Jared Leto. I can't deal with that one. That one was so. And this is going to sound sacrilegious to everyone listening, but I actually enjoy. And this is not saying. This is not saying that Heath was not amazing. I actually enjoy this one more, but it's only because he is a nice mashup of every single Joker that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think that.
I don't think it's sacrilegious.
I think that this version. Well, a lot of tryhards will try to down the Dark Knight anyway. But I think in this instance, I agree with Jen. That,
I'm not a tryhard, but okay.
I mean, I wasn't saying you aren't, but I think that I can see your viewpoint because Cameron is a lot more of. I hesitate to say traditional. But I think he's funnier than Heath Ledger was. And I think the Joker needs to be funny.
Actually, Heath Ledger was the first Joker to actually make me laugh, so I was very impressed by that. I watched that stuff when I was I watched 66. 66 was my first exposure to Batman, and the only reason I watched it is because I wanted to be Batgirl because I thought she was amazing. And I was 5-6 years old when I was watching it.
Stella just woke up in a cold sweat.
I've known this.
That's nice for her. That was the reason I started reading a lot of books. I wanted to be a librarian. I wanted to learn how to ride motorcycles. I wanted to learn martial arts. I wanted to be Batgirl. She was amazing to me when I was that young. She was one of the very few female superheroes on television. You had Superman, you had Batman, Robin, you had the Hulk, but you only had Wonder Woman and and Batgirl. That was it. That was it at that time.
Yeah,
I mean, you
Barbara's
had
your
like
favorite
Charlie's Angels, but Charlie's Angels were detectives. They weren't superheroes. So, and then if you watch like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like April's still getting saved, Irma's getting saved, but Batgirl was like saving Batman and Robin. So I'm just saying, she was someone to look up to. And I've had people like try to tell me like, oh, back then they just cared about how they looked. I'm like, nah, bitch, she was a badass.
We got to show Jan a run in my tights issue.
Well, there's no need to do that.
But yeah, so when I say like a nice mixture of everyone, I do mean like when he was first working, he felt more like Heath Ledger, and then eventually he had like shades of the animated series in there, and then now he's getting all that wonderful Jack Nicholson out, and it is so nice to just see like how all of the incarnations can actually be reflected in the same character without feeling like incongruent. Because it all still feels like the same character, even though it's all these different representations of the character in one.
And he doesn't feel like he's like just copying any one version.
Exactly.
Like I to me, he's a mix between Mark Hamill and Heath Ledger. Like he sounds like Heath Ledger, like vocally, but he doesn't. He's not doing like Jared Leto, because I saw Suicide Squad.
He had that weird. He talked so weird, and then he had the grill and the tattoos, and I was just like.
He sounded like he was legitimately trying to do a Heath Ledger voice, and it was not working for me at all. I don't hate that movie, but like that version was ridiculous. But like Cameron Monaghan feels like it comes more naturally to him, even though as an actor, I know he's very versed. Like, he's not natural. Like, the things I've seen him in terms of clips and stuff. He's not doing crazy stuff like this. He seems like a very versatile, multifaceted actor. But like with this Joker, it feels like he just turns into a whole different character. I feel like he should get an award for this performance. He's that good.
Yeah, and even if Jeremiah is going to be the Joker, at least it'll be Cameron. And as weird as much BS as I feel it's going to be Jeremiah and not Jerome. I'm going to try and hesitate not to like pass too much judgment yet until they've pulled that trigger, because maybe they'll do it in a way where I'm like, you know what? Like, yeah, this was good. I don't want to like pre-judge it. I don't want to pre-review it.
And then he puts on a grill and tattoos damage over his forehead and takes his shirt off.
I quit the show.
Loud. and Bobby Mazzell says, most brilliant thing Gotham's ever done.
Then I put David's head through a wall. That's what happens.
and then Barbara like runs to Tabitha, like, Tabitha, something's happening. My other hand's glowing, but it's glowing a different color. Okay. What does this mean? What other group are you the leader of? I don't know. And when I clap my hands, the colors change.
What?
I don't even know what that means.
And then glowworms come out of the ground.
Are we ready to talk about next week's episode?
Yeah,
I haven't seen the trailer for it yet.
Okay, so I'll read Futon Critic, and then you can watch the trailer after that, and we'll discuss. So next week's episode, that was Mandatory Brunch Reading. Next week's episode is called That's Entertainment. The Arkham inmates are still running freely in Gotham, and they're only getting more difficult to catch. Gordon develops a plan, but reluctantly has to turn to Bruce for help. Meanwhile, Barbara finds out how far her new friends are willing to go for her. Very far. In the all-new That's Entertainment. Guest class listed is replacement Scarecrow, David W. Tomlinson as Scarecrow, Benedict Samuel as Jervis Tech, Cameron Monaghan as Jerome Valeska, Michelle Ventimiglia as Firefly. I think it's her replacement now, but they're still crediting Michelle.
I have no idea.
Nathan Darrow as Mr. Freeze, Shiva Kalasfan as Lila. I think that's that League of Assassins girl, and Peter McRobbie as Mayor Holland Pritchard.
Okay, they got a new mayor.
They did at the beginning of the season. I remember that.
Yes.
It wasn't Bing Bong anymore.
Well, Bing Bong hasn't been mayor in a while.
He was mayor again last season, to which Don and I said a point we know he's not responsible for this, but in real life, every time someone gets the mayor job from him, that person disappears or dies, and this guy becomes mayor again. If this happened in real life, people would be I think this mayor needs a special counsel investigating him because he's
Robert knew it was going to be on his ass.
yeah, like I mean, and that's not a Trump joke or a Hillary joke. That's just like in real life. If like anytime someone new became the mayor, that person like died, like got kidnapped, you know, like Gallivan and Cobblepot, and then this guy became mayor again. Yeah, I'd be suspicious, you know, like. But no, he's just an ineffectual buffoon, just like he was on Spin City. So Jan, go ahead and watch the promo, then we'll talk about that, and then I'll read our feedback from the last few weeks.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a few things.
Okay, let me turn this up because for some reason
This next one.
Skype likes to turn everything
Just he
down.
wants are his brother and you.
What are we waiting
There
for?
we go.
People need our help. Look who decided to show up. Bring him now.
Gotham, all new Thursday on Fox.
Okay, so I'm guessing that at that rally he's going to try and gas Bruce and Jeremiah gets gassed and Bruce doesn't, or maybe Bruce will
He's
get
still
gassed.
on trying to kill Bruce Wayne. He tried to do it in the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised. I mean, that's a long ass grudge.
Wait, who tried to kill? He tried to kill Bruce Wayne at the beginning of the episode?
Didn't Jerome tell Tetch to tell that guy to blow himself up because they knew that
Yeah,
Bruce would follow him?
Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not like... The last thing I remember was trying to kill you, and I have to do that to unlock the rest of my memories.
What?
What?
In season 3, that was his thing.
Remember when he came back, and then that at the best episode in season 3, I will fight you. Fight me.
I don't think you're going to get a fight on that one.
He kidnaps Bruce, and they have the fight. They have the Enter the Dragon fight.
Yes. Yeah, no.
He said,
no.
like, the last thing I remember before I died was trying to kill you, and I need to kill you to, like, fix my head.
No, yeah.
Because he
No.
couldn't... Yeah, so...
No, like I'm just saying that, like, I mean, because he looks fine now. I'm just pointing out that, like, it's interesting that, like, this version's part of his character is like his fixation on killing Bruce Wayne. That's interesting.
Yeah, but, like, yeah, just, like, why he has that fixation is nice, because they already explain it, so they don't have to explain it again, which is a really nice thing.
It's also momentum too. Like, you know, he's tried to kill Bruce this long, and it's like, yeah, you know, like it's unfinished business for him, and Bruce is, you know,
It gets Bruce something to do.
And he also tried to kill Bruce in My Three Soups, and he came out of that alive. And it's kind of like this roach won't die.
Although, in fairness, Bruce showed up. Like, I don't think he was looking for him at the time.
Yeah.
it's also unfinished business though, and Bruce, you know, like gave him that beating. Or if you're done with the promo, I could read the
He was
feedback.
so small at the time too when he was beating the shit out of him. Now he's bigger.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so we have some feedback from a few episodes. So for our podcast on the sinking ship, the Grand Applause, on YouTube, because we're on YouTube, we're on the website, we're on, iTunes. Someone named Princess Kagiaka, I might be saying it wrong, said, "Love your podcast. I have to agree about Lee. To me, the choice to have her pretty much save Jim saves her from being charged with murdering, as it was to save his life. I like the idea with Lee is vigil. This might just be like an autocorrect thing, but it says, I like the idea with Lee is vigilantism, which is why she would help Batman later. I would have to wonder if she would have hesitated or confronted her, but since Jim was in danger, shooting her didn't seem that bad. I think she was going there with the intention of killing Sophia, and saving Jim was a bonus. I feel like the intent, yeah, she had a mad on. She was like saying the Penguin, I want to kill her. I feel like they intentionally kept the blood off of Lee's hands. Not that I'm saying intent doesn't matter, but at the same time, they didn't have her shoot Sophia in cold blood murder, and you can see, yeah. And you can see why she smashed it. Yeah, because Sophia was on the ground. She didn't have to kill her at that point. Jim was saved. The headshot came next. And you can see why she smashes Samson's hand. It's out of justice. Ooh, that's justice. For how the people of the Narrows are being treated. It's anger, not sadism. It is anger. Which
Sadism?
to me, yeah, maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. I don't hear that out loud ever. So I in my mind, it was always sadism.
Sadomasochism, so it's sadism and masochism.
Which to me says they they want to keep her integrity and stay from straying too far into villain territory. Well, Princess, I hope you like this episode. Just my opinion on it, but I agree that they had Sophia shoot her, but not kill. That they had Sophia shoot her, but not kill her, even though she intended. But I'm doubtful she would have been able to shoot Sophia in cold blood murder if she, say, just met up with her at the house the way Penguin was planning on doing.
Didn't have to like shoot her in the head. Could have shot her in the arm. She knows where all the arteries and shit are.
She's a doc.
She is a doctor. She could have just like shot her in the shoulder. She wouldn't be able to like point the gun. She would have dropped it. But she straight up headshot her right between the eyes.
Well, and she had already incapacitated her with the first gunshot when she's like, "You!" Like at that point, yeah, it's
yeah.
But she was going there because I remember her talking to Penguin. She was intending on killing Sophia.
Yeah, she could have shot her in the hand. She could have shot her anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Headshot right between the eyes.
I'm not. No.
Just any thoughts on that? Okay.
No, I don't think that's okay.
Okay, so Frontier says, I don't really want to see Riddler and Penguin hook up. That's not because I think they shouldn't love other men, but I just have a hard time seeing their relationship romantically after everything they've been through with each other, which is actually kind of similar to what I say about Lee and Nygma. For some reason, I don't feel that way about Nygma and Cobblepot.
Because they're both evil.
Yeah, maybe. I also just don't think Riddler ever felt the same way about Oswald that Oswald felt about Nygma. In fact, a lot of the drive for Nygma diving even more into his Riddler persona was his attempts at getting revenge on Penguin for killing Isabella. True. I can buy their trust partnership being built back up again, but I just don't see romance between these two. It's hard for me to really think Sophia, quote-unquote, won by Gordon continuing to keep the deal a secret. I mean, with her stuck in a coma and Gordon still in charge, it still feels like a win for the heroes. I just don't really get why Gordon would feel more guilty over this compared to covering up killing Gallivan or his other crimes. At least this time he was ignorant to see what was really going on for most of it. He has a few points in this, but like...
yeah, that whole Gallivan thing, because Gallivan made the Maniacs and releases Jerome onto the world the first time.
Right. Well, I mean, this isn't the end of his comment, but before we continue, I want to, I guess, deal with that point, which was, I think the whole thing about Sophia 1 is that Gordon has to live with this guilt, and he feels responsible for bringing Pig into the city, which actually, I was at the water park today, and the relative of one of the kids that I work with was there, and she watches Gotham, and she was asking me, like, why does Gordon keep on saying that, like, he's responsible for Pig? And we, like, talked about that a little bit, and I was like, yeah, he didn't know the whole time, but, like, he brought Sophia who brought Pig, so, like, to him, it's his fault.
Technically,
like,
it is.
Yeah. We're talking about a lot about faults today. But,
yeah, everything is Jim's fault.
Yeah.
Jim, you piece of shit.
But no, I mean, I'm agreeing that Sophia won, because even though, yeah, she's in the coma, the status quo is still the same, that Jim has to live with this guilt. And if he says something about it, then, yeah, he's going to lose his job as captain, and they're going to replace him with a corrupt person who will take orders from Penguin.
He's still corrupt, though, just even if he doesn't take orders from Penguin. That's the problem with this show, is Jim is, like, hella corrupt, and they're just trying to make him more interesting. In order to make him interesting, they should have just kept him to his guns and, like, try to have him, like, he should have, like, Sherlocked his way out of stuff. Like, I don't have to do this because I figured out how to do this instead. But instead, they decided to make him, like, shoot people and run around and, like, bring serial killers into the city, go to mob bosses for help. It's like, really?
And he could have, like, compromised himself, but, like, it should have been done sort of, like, more sympathetically. Because there are so many times
in a way where he doesn't actually realize that it's going to be bad. Like, you don't go to a mob boss and then expect everything to be sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, because he went to Carmine first, but I guess he thought that Carmine wouldn't be sneaky and underhanded.
For some reason.
I mean, and that Carmine wouldn't be mad at him for, I don't know, killing his son. Like,
he has a son?
He had a son.
What? I don't know. That's just...
So, I think Selena is definitely one of the most consistent characters on the show, which can be few and far between when looking at Gotham's, he put quote-unquote adaptations of comic characters. Even if I don't think she's exactly comic Catwoman quite yet, I did find her and Bruce's scene in the pawn shop to be a lot like some of their scenes together in Batman the Telltale series, a game which I would recommend for any Batman fan, either play or check out on YouTube. I've heard good things about that.
I agree. Just one slight thing that you might want to keep in mind when you play the game is Penguin is completely different from the TV show and from the comics and from the movies. Completely different.
Penguin's very diverse throughout all of media.
In the game, he's got like a Cockney accent, and he's like British and thin.
He's Cockney, I think, in like the Arkham games, isn't he? Arkham City? Does he have an accent for some reason there? Because I remember at Comic-Con I seen a trailer and a panel, and he was speaking with an accent.
I laughed hysterically. Playing one of the Arkham games, you have to walk through the Iceberg Lounge. I think this was Arkham City. And then, at one point, out of nowhere, a killer whale, burst through the ice and ate me. And yeah. I just, it was so abrupt and random that I just laughed hilarious. And it's so Penguin keeps, a killer whale on hand in the Iceberg
For, no
Lounge.
reason.
Sure. I love the gag about tricking Lee. It reminded me of that bit where Josh had the whole Barnes goes crazy arc, and with Barnes revealing it was all an elaborate act to get Gordon to confess to killing Gallivan.
Wow.
See, I'm glad that our little, rabbit hole improv stuff, makes the listeners happy. I mean, I know how you guys feel about them, and I hear your reactions, but I never know how those go over in listener land. So
And Don's a straight man over here.
Don gets just as crazy as I do.
I know. And at this point, I've got swept up in it too.
It was Don who suggested to me, before the recording, it should be Lucius under the mask of, Sophia. I'm also...
Why, Don? Why do you hate me?
I don't even remember. I remember doing that. I don't remember why I said that.
Yeah, and then he went on that, 5 minutes non sequitur about Sophia pulling off the mask and being Lucius, and I was like, why is this still going?
Hey, I was enjoying it. It can go on longer than that.
I'm also not sure why Butch would be so against his current form given all the benefits it gives him, like super strength and being virtually unkillable. I'm also curious if Butch's attempt to serve himself back to normal will wind up reviving his Grundy personality. That might be interesting. He looks like Butch, but he has the brain of Grundy.
Poor Tabitha.
Yeah. I also wonder if there's any way for Lee to go back to the person she once was. Since she feels like she's on the verge of becoming another Gotham crime boss or supervillain at times. I don't even think her clinic has come up in a while, as they've emphasized her whole being the Queen of the Narrows. Dawn brings up... Yeah. Oh, I forgot about this. This was funny. Don brings up Ryan Coogler, reminding me of a fun fact. Drew Powell, Butch Grundy, was in a movie with Chadwick Boseman. Am I saying it right?
Boseman, yeah.
Yeah. And posted a picture from said film on his Twitter. Now I'm picturing T'Challa in Gotham and Gordon yelling, GCBD, and shooting at him, only for the bullets to bounce off his vibranium mesh, and T'Challa then says, I don't care. Why is Gordon shooting T'Challa? You know what?
Because it's Gotham. Do the math.
Of course, Gordon would shoot
Put
T'Challa.
down your weapons.
Oh my God, he's got panther ears. Or Gordon challenges him for the mantle of Black Panther. In that, and the child's he takes off his shirt.
Did we talk about that already, or was that in the Black Panther review on the comic book film review?
I don't think we did.
No, we did.
Right.
We had this whole thing because it was all he pulls off the mask and it's Jim Gordon. He goes to Wakanda, and we had a whole conversation about Jim Gordon going to Wakanda instead of Killmonger, and challenging T'Challa for
Praise be to Hanuman.
Bullock being like, Jim, this isn't like you. You can't lead an African nation. Watch me, Harvey.
Hold my beer.
So many reasons not to watch a show after that. If that happened.
Season 6 of Gotham got really weird. So thank you for that. Thank you for that long comment, Frontier. That was a lot of fun. I forgot about that end. Over on Twitter, another comment about that episode was Jordan Valdez, whose review we had read in that episode. He said, "Glad you all appreciated my review. You all are awesome. Keep up the good work. Great work. Want to mention that as a huge Smallville fan, I love the inclusion of a clip from Save Me in the latest song parody." And then he continues, homeless cop with an emoji.
What is the emoji? That's important.
Oh, it's a smiling and winking emoji. It was on Twitter.
Perfect.
And then he tagged you in it, and I'm not going to read the rest of the conversation because it was just us talking about Smallville after that, but
I don't watch Smallville. I'm sorry, Jordan. I've seen like 3 episodes. And 2 of them involved like shirtless Justin Hartley, which is literally the entire reason I watch them.
There's lots of shirtless guys in Smallville, and lots of girls doing evil stuff because of like magic potions and stuff.
Yeah, no one cares about girls. I'm talking about like shirtless Justin Hartley. Jordan Hartley. Justin Hartley.
And then for one of my 3 soups, we have a comment from Dustin. He says, this is him discussing the conversation that we had about people of color getting killed on the show. He said, "I too am a straight white male. I can see, not understand in the same way, the issue with people of color being killed or treated poorly. One thing that I was thinking of when listening to the discussion, outside of launching a research project of going back and tallying up the deaths of different races on the show, but man, I can't subject myself to rewatching episodes at all, was that the shows were brought up that mainly have that issue seem to be where the majority of the main cast is white. Shows in general and diversity, that might have been all correct. Shows in general try and diversify themselves so that even when the main cast is mostly white, the supporting characters and extras end up trying to make the cast more diverse. The issue is that the extras who are there to add diversity to the cast end up being throwaway characters because they are meant to be, because they are extras. It may have less to do with the fact that people of color are being used that way, the way that they are, and more about how the main cast reflects diversity in general. Of course, you run into issues with shows like this that are based off of source material, where certain characters are depicted a certain way. We have seen on other shows characters be race or gender swapped, and honestly, when it doesn't affect the story, that should be something that is done more often. I can think of a number of characters in the Batman universe, and specifically on Gotham, like Strange, who could have easily been or be a different race without it affecting the storylines. Some people get upset when choices like that are made, but honestly, that is the solution to having more diverse casts on shows that are based on source material, especially when the source material is dated and the show's reflection of time periods that are outdated. Now, none of this solves the immediate issue of people of color being killed so frequently on a show with an established cast. But like was mentioned on the episode, the main cast members who are people of color need to have a larger focus rather than just being there as token characters. Tabitha has had storylines and her character is different than the comics, but she still comes off as second fiddle to Barbara in most cases, especially now. Yeah. Even though Barbara's character has the least amount of backstory from the source material of any of the main cast. I think Chris Chalk is an amazing actor and was glad he came to Gotham after seeing him on Newsroom, but they don't give him very much to do. Very true. And honestly, having him join the JCBD comes off as circumstantial as a reason to keep a person of color around more frequently. All that being said, regardless of race, they need to make a concerted effort to make sure that things like certain groups of people are not killed more frequently than others. Someone should be paying attention to that and not just people of color watching the show.
That was nice.
Yeah. My big takeaway from that was, Dustin listened to and was engaged.
Yeah. I mean, that's also part of the problem is they're trying to supplement the lack of color by adding them as extras, but the extras are murdered, so it's... yeah.
I thought about that too last week, but I decided not to throw it in because, I didn't want to make the conversation more uncomfortable. Say what?
Throw what in?
Oh, the whole thing about
the point that Dustin made. Yeah.
The supplement of lack of color by putting them in the extras, but the extras always get killed.
I think that's what I was saying though. That's they've been doing that.
Yeah, no, but he was just saying like they were trying to make the show look more diverse by casting the people of color, but the people of color are always the extras, and the extras always die.
That was Dustin's point. Dustin was agreeing with you, but he was also diagnosing a cause for the problem, saying that like the reason why all these people are people of color is because they're trying to add diversity, but they're not realizing that by adding the diversity, they're sending a bad message by making every murder victim
POC dead.
Yeah. That shit's 30 years old. You know, it's racist, and like that's something it's really old by this point.
Yeah, it's just that they were. It's basically okay. I just think it's like kind of lazy. But he's like, yeah, you need to make the main cast more diversified. Just adding these extras doesn't really help when you just keep killing them off, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, we need more people of color here. Let's put these in here. But we're also going to kill these characters, so... But there's people of color in Gotham.
It's funny that they casted Rachel Ghoul more accurate to the source material, but they killed him off.
Yes, that...
Well, but he's Roz. He dies and he comes back.
That's true. Rach never really dies, but at the same time, like he can't be... And, you know, they made Sarah Essen not white. They killed her off. It's like... It's. I mean, I don't.
I was waiting for Alan and Montoya to die. Honestly,
not to belabor a point because I made my point last time.
Might as well be.
It really is. It really is like a thing in the show. It's not just seeing things. It's there.
Yeah.
Like there was that Asian girl at the information desk when Jerome was walking up. It's like, oh well, she's dead. So, but she didn't. So.
I
was very conscious of, like, after last week, I was very conscious. I was like, okay, the guy at the beginning, he died, but he's not a minority, so we're okay there. And then, like, the receptionist, I was like, okay, here we go.
And then he went upstairs, and I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to hold my breath and wait to see if someone is dead or not. Yeah. That should not be a reaction that I have, and not because it's Jerome, but because it's a woman of color. I didn't even, like, register that it was like, oh, the Joker might kill this person because it's a person and it's Jerome. It's like a tip of the hat, or like a flip of the coin, or like just a roll of the dice. No, it was like, oh, it's an Asian lady.
Exactly.
Just stare. And then, oh, okay, she lived. That's new. Mm-hmm. That was literally my thought. Oh, thank God she survived that. Not because it's Jerome, but because she was Asian.
Yes.
And she had freaking colored hair. You work in a professional setting. You don't have colored hair. It's
Gotham.
It is Gotham. It is not Gotham.
She's from the Narrows.
No. Shut up.
So until next time, this is Josh.
This is Don.
And this is Jan.
And you've been listening to the Gotham Chronicle podcast.
Somewhere out in Gotham Town, something bad's going down. Only brave Batman and Robin dare to right what's wrong. Riddler will be leaving clues, laughing when the joke's on you. Penguins flying high, Catwoman's coming on real strong. Crime is like a vile disease. Have you met Mr. Freeze? Scarecrow gives you shivers and Two-Face lurks in the night. When you think you reach the end signal, your only friends, Batman and Robin, back to what is right. Join the adventures of Batman and Robin weekdays on Fox.